Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. I am so excited to welcome you here and I'm excited that you have decided to take a look at the wonderful instrument that is the harp. I am Heather Downey and here is my complete beginner series for you on YouTube. Now I'm going to be taking you through everything that you need to know as a complete beginner starting out at the harp. Maybe you don't have your harp yet and you're interested in learning about the harp before you jump in there, or maybe you've got your first harp and you're ready to get going with learning to find your way around the harp and making an excellent sound. Either way, over the next few videos, I am going to show you everything you need. So please do subscribe to the channel, make sure that you're able to follow through this whole series and join me as I take you through learning your way around the harp, learning how to sit at the harp and look after your body, learning how to hold your hands and place on the strings, how to pluck your fingers in and make a beautiful sound on the harp, some exercises to help you with practicing, and to round it all off, learning a lovely tune for you to play on the harp. Now, this is our first video, and in this video, I'm going to take you through the anatomy of the harp, how it's made up and all the different parts, the different string types that you can find on harps and different sizes of harps, levers and pedals on our harps, and finally, naming the strings on our harps. So let's get going. Let's start off with the anatomy of our harps. What the different parts of the harp actually are called and what they do. So we're going to start right up front here with our big straight part at the front of our harp, and this is called our pillar. And then up here, curving its way along the top of our harp, this is called the harmonic curve. Now at the back of the harp here, we have our sound box. And in the back of the sound box, we've got lovely holes, and this helps our sound to really resonate and really come through, and we can all hear it beautifully. And joining our harmonic curve to our sound box is the shoulder of our harp. Now at the front of our sound box, we have what's called the sound board, and this can be made out of lots of different types of wood, and the sound board really makes a difference to the unique character, the unique sound of your harp. Coming out of our sound board, we have our strings, and our strings move up to, on this harp, our semitone levers, which we'll talk a little bit more about later in this video. On a pedal harp, we don't have the semitone levers. We have pedals around the bottom. And again, we're going to talk about the levers and the pedals a little bit later in this video. And then we have our tuning pins at the top here. And these tuning pins move right through our harmonic curve, and we tune our strings using these tuning pins. And again, later in this video series, we're going to look at how to tune your harp. And so that is the makeup of our harps. Now, harps come in many different sizes. And you might see that even just in this room, there are a few different sizes of harps. Sitting beside me here, we have a 34 string floor lever harp. And what that means is that my harp here has 34 strings. It sits on the floor, so it's freestanding if you like, and it has levers. Over in this corner, we have another floor standing 34 string harp. And behind me here in the background, we have a full concert grand 47 string pedal harp. And harps can come in all different sizes. So the full size pedal harp has 47 strings. You can have a smaller pedal harp that has 44 strings. My lever harp has 34 strings, which is quite standard for a lever harp, but you can have 36, 38 strings, you can have 30, 32 strings, and these are often all floor standing harps, harps that stand on their own. And you can even have smaller harps, 27, 22, or even 19 string harps, which are great fun too. Sometimes these might be floor standing using legs that attach to the harp or using a harp stand, or some of these might be lap harps that are played with the harp sitting on your lap, perhaps with a strap around your body to help secure the harp. Now, harps also come with a whole variety of different strings. Now, the preference with the size of a harp or the string type, it's really just down to personal choice. There's no right or wrong here. Maybe you're starting on a small nylon strung lap harp. That's great. Or maybe you've gone straight in for a full-size 47 string concert grand pedal harp, which perhaps has nylon, gut and wire strings, and that's great too. The different string types are going to give you a different unique sound. Often for the higher register of our strings, we have gut or nylon, or in my case, carbon strings. Now these different string types, they're just going to give you a slightly different sound, and it's personal choice. With the bigger harps, you often also have wire strings at the bottom of your harps, or metal strings. And these are very like guitar strings. They have a core and there's metal wound round these strings. And that gives us this nice deep bass resonant sound. Now, all the harps I've mentioned so far, we play with our finger pads, or commonly we play with our finger pads. But you do also get wire strung harps, which have all wire strings, and they're more commonly played with the fingernails. It's quite a different technique. Now, I'm a pad player, and throughout this series, I'm going to be talking about finger pad technique and playing on a fluorocarbon string harp or a gut string harp or a nylon string harp using those finger pads. Like I say, it doesn't matter what type of harp you have, what size of harp you have. If you don't have levers, that's great too. Everyone starts out with something a bit different. It is all about personal choice. And so long as you love your harp and love playing it, that's all that matters. I've already briefly mentioned the semitone levers when we were going around the parts of the harp. Levers and pedals are here to help us play different notes or change the key. Now, your harp might not have levers or pedals, and that's absolutely fine too. What that means is, if you don't have levers or pedals, is that you tune your harp into a certain key, and we're going to be talking about tuning again later in this series. And once you've tuned into that certain key, you're in that key whilst you play. And in order to get into a different key or play notes out with what you have to retune your harp. If you have semitone levers on your harp, these levers can go up or down, or they can be engaged or not, on or off the string if you like. And when you have a lever on, which in my case means putting the lever up, sometimes to put the lever on you put the lever down, it just depends on your make of harp. When I put my levers on, these move the string up or higher in pitch by a semitone or by a half step. This is like a little half step in music. In music, we talk about tones and semitones, or whole steps and half steps. And this is just like distances that you walk in music. And so when I put my lever on my lever harp, I move the distance, I raise the string up by what's called a semitone or a half step. Now the same is true for your pedals on your pedal harp, except that the pedal harp has got two positions for each pedal. Let me just explain this. On our lever harp, our levers can either be on or they can be off. And so we can move our strings the distance of one semitone, and that's it. With our pedals, you can actually push the pedal down, which will move the note up by one semitone or by a half step. And then you can push the pedal down again, which will move the note up another semitone or move it up another half step. Now, what this means is there is a wider range of notes available to you without retuning your harp on a pedal harp. On the lever harp, there are less notes available to you without retuning the harp. Again, there's lots of music that can be played on all different types of harps, whether you have levers, you don't have levers, or you're using pedals. It's all down to personal choice and also the harp that you have in front of you. Last up in this video, we are going to learn about the different string names. And this is going to help us find our way around actually making a sound on our harp, which we're going to come to later in this complete beginner series. So you might notice that my strings are different colours. I've got some kind of clear strings or white strings if you like, and I've got some red strings, and I have some black strings. Now these colours help me to navigate my way around the harp. And the different colours have different notes. The red strings on our harp are the note C, and the black strings on our harp are the note F. In music, we use letter names to name the different notes, name the different pitches that we're playing, and we go from A to G. And so once we've learned that our reds are C and our blacks are F, and we know that in music we have the notes A to G, the clear strings, they just fill in the gaps. So if we start on a red string, C, next up we're going to have D, then we've got E, and then F, which is our black string. Next up we have G, and of course in music we only go to the note G, so next we're going to go to A, B, look, we're back at a red string, C, D, E, F for the black string, G, and back to A again, and our series repeats. So my harp starts with a red string at the bottom, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and so on all the way up the harp. But of course, if you have a different number of strings on your harp, you might start with a different string at the bottom of your harp. And so it's useful to find the lowest red string on your harp and start from there as you start naming your strings. C, D, E, and then you get to the black, which is F, G, and then we're on to A, and so on and so forth. You repeat all the way up the harp. This is the same for the pedal harp. The only difference that you might see on some harps is these black strings are sometimes blue. And actually, if you look a little bit higher on my harp at the levers, these are actually also labelled with colours to help me find my way around. And on my levers, I have red and I have blue. The red is C and the blue is F. So I can also label my levers C, D, E, we're on to the blue, which is F, G, A, B, and I'm back to C again, which is the red. Now you'll notice I actually have some levers engaged and some not, and we're going to talk more about levers and pedals being on or off in our tuning video when we start to actually talk about tuning the strings on the harp. But for the moment, when you're finding your way around the strings, I would just start learning the note names that are applied to each string. The lower strings on our harp are lower in pitch, they have a low sound. The higher strings, or closer to us on our harp, have a higher pitch, and the harp goes progressively from low to high as you move up the strings. So everyone, that is our tour of our harp, how to find your way around everything, naming the strings and all the different parts of the harp. In our next video, we're going to look at tuning a harp. So definitely make sure that you subscribe to this channel to keep up with all the different harp tips I'm sharing, to keep up with the Complete Beginner series, and most of all, to keep enjoying your harping. Thanks so much for joining me and hope to see you soon.